Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 6th Annual Vallejo Healthy Food Festival. My name is Erica Hazel, and I am this year's Vallejo Community Organizer. We have an amazing program in store for you today, and we are so excited to have you here on Zoom for the second year in a row, because your health and safety matters to us. This year, we have kept our event online due to the COVID-19 pandemic that has affected so many in our communities. It is our sincerest hope that you and your family members are staying safe and healthy. For the 6th year of the Vallejo Healthy Food Festival, we have an amazing schedule filled with entertaining cooking demos, interviews, and performances, all celebrating the beauty and culture of Vallejo. Please know that if you're interested in viewing the event with Spanish captions, the live recording of today's event will be available 1 week after each of our events with both English and Spanish subtitles. So the theme for the 6th year of the Vallejo Healthy Food Festival is a healthy Vallejo for today and tomorrow. Today, we will take you on a journey and share with you the many simple ways that you can introduce healthy habits and changes in your life for your present and your future. Last week, we kicked off the festival with a tour of the Vallejo People's Garden, learned how to make authentic Filipino spaghetti, dance along to the rhythms and sounds of ballet folklorico dances, and learn more about a compassionate vegan lifestyle. But before we begin today's events, we want to acknowledge that September 15th through October 15th marks the celebration of Latinx Heritage Month. The next 30 days is all about the many cultures, contributions, and resiliency of Latinx and Latinx identified communities around the world. Latinx Heritage Month is centered around the Independence Day celebrations of several nations in Central and Latin America, including Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Mexico, and Nicaragua in the early 1800s. 5 of these proud nations declared their independence from Spain on September 15th, with Mexico's declaration the next day on September 16th. To celebrate our final weekend of the Vallejo Healthy Food Festival, today's festivities include an introduction to the martial art of Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, a super easy vegan fried chicken recipe, and today we'll get to talk to a registered dietitian. Plus, we will learn how to make 2 easy recipes for Nopales or cactus. At the end of today's program, we will respond to all of the questions that you have for us. Please send us your questions throughout the event by using the Q&A box located at the bottom of your screen, and we will respond to them at the end of today's program during the Q&A session. We are also pleased to announce that if you're one of the first 12 participants who is a Vallejo resident, we will be giving you a free vegan cookbook gift box. To make sure you can receive your gift box, please make sure you have filled out the survey using the link shared in the chat box. So to get our day started, it is my pleasure to introduce Lauren Ornelas and Helen Marie Cookie Gordon. Lauren is going to talk to us about Cookie Gordon and share a little bit about FEP's work in the Vallejo community. So please join me and welcome Lauren Ornelas and Helen Marie Cookie Gordon.
Hey, Erica, thank you so much. And thanks everybody for being here. Really pleased to have you again for our 6th annual event. I know we all love it in person, but so glad you can join us even virtually right now. So as many of you know, we started our work in Vallejo about 6 or 7 years ago when asked by one of the founding members of the Black Panther Party, David Hilliard, to take a look at what was happening in the community when it comes to lack of access of healthy foods. So we went out and we did an assessment on the availability of healthy foods, fresh fruits and vegetables, canned, frozen, also meat and dairy alternatives, and asking other questions about community and what type of foods were available. We put out our report, and then we followed up and went out and did focus groups in the community, about 7 focus groups, finding out in the community what the barriers were that people experienced and what were some of the potential solutions. We have been sharing all of our reports with policymakers, and we've also been made sure to share our reports with organizations like Vallejo People's Garden to make sure that they get the funding that they need to do the important work that they're doing. And so they could show policymakers and foundations how necessary it is for people to know how to grow their own food, as well as just the fact that there isn't a lot of healthy, fresh fruits and vegetables in the community. Doing our work in the focus groups, again, we did about 6 or 7 focus groups, And in all of the focus groups, we listened to what community members had to say about the barriers, what they believe some of the solutions were. We fed everybody a free vegan meal. We also paid them $50 for their time, because we know that time and knowledge is valuable, and we wanted to compensate people for giving that back to the community. So in these focus groups that we did, we brought up the concept of a worker-owned cooperative, not a membership-owned cooperative, but a worker-owned cooperative, where the workers make the decisions about the business and the workers live in the community. And in all of the focus groups, there was only one community member who had ever heard of a worker-owned cooperative, and that was Cookie. And Cookie has been incredibly supportive of this concept, pushing it forward. We had 3 meetings in the community talking specifically about what worker-owned cooperatives are. And we brought in our friends from Mandela Grocery in Oakland to talk about them as owners and how they make the decisions that they make and how much it gives back to the community. Cookie has also been there to talk to potential candidates about the problem that what Safeway's done to the community in terms of putting restrictive deeds on land in Vallejo, preventing grocery stores from moving in. So I'm really excited for you all to hear from Cookie, because even if you live in Vallejo, you may not understand what it is like for certain people who live in Vallejo, say South Vallejo, really understand what it's like for them to live in these communities. And it's important for you to hear from her, somebody who's been impacted by the decisions made by policymakers, by the situation there, on things that she believes can and should be done for the community. So looking forward to you all to hear Cookie right from herself. And thank you again, Erica, for doing such a fantastic interview.
Thank you, Cookie and Lauren, for reminding us to continue to fight for healthy foods in all of our communities. If you're interested in getting involved in the fight for food justice, we'd like to remind you that Food Empowerment Project is looking for a full-time, 1-year term Vallejo community organizer to work closely with the community of Vallejo, California, and FEP's team to help with a variety of programs and campaigns that align with our mission and support the community and organization's goals. Please click the link below to read more about it. All right, next up, we have the family that wrestles together and stays active and healthy together. Today, we are going to meet the Jones family, a family of 6 who all do, and correction from earlier, Japanese martial art known as Jiu Jitsu. Join us at the Jones family gym here in Vallejo, where we will learn all about Jiu Jitsu, a defensive form of martial arts that focuses on ground control, mainly using grappling and throws. Wrestling is very similar to jiu-jitsu because of its similarity with takedowns and pin moves. The benefits of jiu-jitsu include self-defense skills, discipline, and fitness benefits. So what do jiu-jitsu and a plant-based diet have in common? Scientific evidence from dietary studies has linked the consumption of animal products to some deadly ailments. Additional research has shown that consuming vegan or plant-based foods helps with a lower risk of heart disease, diabetes, and a host of other chronic and debilitating disorders. Research also shows that coronary heart disease and diabetes stem from the same risk factors: eating animal products, processed foods, and a lack of exercise. People can significantly reduce their risk factors for these and other diseases by making healthy lifestyle choices, like eating plant-based foods and getting exercise like jiu-jitsu. So without further ado, let's head over to the gym and meet the tumbling, tossing, and terrific children and parents who make up the jiu-jitsu loving Jones family.
Jason Jones, head coach and owner of Electro Jiu-Jitsu and Wrestling Club here in Vallejo, California. And I am 42 years old, been training for almost 11 years, and this is my family. We also train together. Right next to me is my youngest son, Justin, at 4 years old. He's been training for 2 years. And then next we have...
My name is Elise and I'm 9 years old.
And how long have you been training?
For 2 years?
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Evan and I'm 9. I've been training for 2 years. Hello, my name is Jason Jones and I am 11. I've been training for 2 years.
My name is Jessica Jones and I've been training off and on for maybe 6 years.
I got started, I had some issues, injury issues. You know, I was playing, like competitive flag football and basketball on the weekends. and then my knee started going out, so I couldn't really run. And I wanted to find another outlet. I used to wrestle years ago, and this is the only thing that I could find that was close enough to wrestling. And that's how I picked up jiu-jitsu. I would take the youngest, when they were young, I would take them with me to the gym off and on. And then finally, when we opened up our own martial arts academy, and that's what got them in, and now seems like they're hooked.
I'm not here as much as I like to be, but I do pop in from time to time and just kind of roll around with the kids a little bit, pick up some moves. But I plan on getting more into it and practicing more. So we'll see what comes out of that.
All right, so this is Justin. So Justin's going to be demonstrating the classic arm bar, very common move in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So he's going to do that for you right now. So Justin, you want to do the arm bar? Okay, go. Good. All right. So mount position. All right, good. Arm. Good. All right, that's it. All right, so Elise is going to be demonstrating the headlock defense. So in Jiu-Jitsu, one of our self-defense we teach is a headlock defense. So Jason's going to get Elise in headlock. So from behind. All right. Good. And pushes away. All right, one more time. Good. All right. And then so now we have, next up we have Evan. So Evan's going to be demonstrating a punch and block technique into a throw. All right. So do you want to face this way so we can't right there. Right here. Okay. So Jason's going to do the punch. Good. All right. One more. Now Jason is going to demonstrate a little situational, this is just a general demonstration that they came up with themselves, a little sequence. All right, so you guys want to do your sequence that you worked on? All right, go ahead, do the sequence. Good, one more time. Last but not least, we're gonna have Jessica. She's gonna come in. What she's gonna demonstrate is a lot of times, especially for women, we have a technique that we use for hair grabs, or maybe someone's trying to grab out and they're trying to touch us, right? We don't want to be touched, right? So I'm gonna reach out and grab. One more time. Good. All right. And next, I'll have another variation of a headlock defense. Okay. So. Good. All right. That's it. All right, thank you guys for joining us here at Let's Roll with me and my wife Jessica. Once again, I am Jason, the owner and head coach, along with my wife Jessica. She's also co-owner with me. A little brief rundown of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's a Brazilian martial arts. It's derived from judo. It's based on timing and leverage, trying to allow the smaller person to excel over the larger person. Right, so we focus a lot on timing, leverage, and not using strength. Obviously, if you have a bigger person and the smaller person is using a lot of strength, they're not going to fail to wear an attack if they have to defend themselves. Right. What we do here, what you just saw, a lot of the kids is what we call rolling. Other martial arts they call it sparring. Or we call it playing. just for the kids to get used to the movements, right? A lot of the functional moves that we do here in jiu-jitsu translate over into our sparring. So when the kids are going through their positions, they get in a position, maybe it's a choke or arm bar, and they tap. So the way to tap is they tap verbally, they tap physically, or they tap also with their feet. What I try to do with the kids is get them to respect each other, respect what we call respect the tap, so that way no one gets hurt. Like, safety is our main focus, even for our adults here, right? We just try to keep a good family-oriented, friendly atmosphere. If anyone walks in the door, I also encourage a lot of women to pick up Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because what we are is we are close quarters martial arts or grappling martial arts. So if the attacker takes us to the ground, we know how to defend ourselves on the ground. That's kind of like the ground is kind of like our home. We do have a large portion of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that is stand-up based, but as we know, most altercations do end up on the ground, either intentionally or unintentionally. And so that's when you need to get into your mindset of not to panic and focus on our techniques. Once you've been going through your jiu-jitsu journey for a while, you'll start to feel and understand a lot of these positions.
We do offer, my husband and I both teach it, and we usually have it on Saturday mornings, but we're very flexible with time. As I know, we understand some people can't make it. So we can do private group sessions, but what we do is we go over common scenarios that might happen with women, realistic scenarios. If you're on the ground, if someone's trying to choke you, pull you into their car, if they have a knife, if they have a gun pointed at you, things you can do to get out of that situation. It's for, we start, mainly around teenage age, as long as the person is mature, the young child is mature enough to go through the class. About an hour long, they can come. And but yeah, I recommend it to all women. You don't have to be athletic, and it's for all women. We had a mother and daughter. The mother was about 60, daughter was about 30, so it's literally for everybody. And if you have an injury, my husband can tailor an exercise to that. So I highly recommend it.
So some of these medals are my medals that I've competed in over the years. Like I said, I've been training for about 11 years now. And when I do get a chance, I get to cut some time out of my schedule, I try to step on the mat and compete. I haven't competed here lately. Hopefully this summer I'll probably be able to get a chance to step on the mat and compete again. Fortunately, our academy just had our first tournament in Cal State Fulton, Jiu-Jitsu World League. And all the kids did good, we all didn't place, but they got some valuable experience, right? And then usually in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, competition is a base to where we can actually use our skills in a real life application, since we're not going to be going out in the streets and fighting. We don't encourage that, but we do encourage, if the child or if the adult wants to compete, we can definitely get them ready, and then that way they can go out there to see, hey, how are my skills? Like, are they up to par with other people on my level, right? And it's kind of like you can self-evaluate yourself in the tournament setting. And personally, that's why I like the tournament setting, because when we're talking self-defense, it's not all the time that you can actually practice your skills real life situation firsthand. So the tournament setting provides an atmosphere, because there's a lot of people around. The anxiety you have to deal with, the stress of the competition you have to deal with, the nervousness. So it's trying to harness all that emotion to step out on the mat when it's just you and your opponent, and to see if you can perform, win or lose. We believe that nobody actually loses in jiu-jitsu, we all learn. So even by losing, we're learning, right? Because I can come back the next day and remember what I worked on, maybe something that didn't go right, and then I can just continue to improve that way. So some of the benefits of jiu-jitsu, once again, as you would go to any trainer, a lot of the trainers will put you through like a lot of functional movements, especially if you're getting closer to more the senior age. But nowadays, for everybody with a large sedentary lifestyle that we have, a lot of our moves are functional based movements, right? Even through our warm up and our drills are all functional based. They all translate over into the art. So you will gain, obviously you will, by just going through our workouts, your endurance will increase. you will experience, even if you don't try, you can't help but experience increased flexibility, right? And then usually whether that comes to uh, by have us uh, sparring and everything, uh, you'll start to develop healthy eating habits because you'll start to realize that, hey, I can't last through the full sparring session, right? And then so now you're like, hey, what can I do to get better? You know, usually I have someone ask, hey, I have this injury, what can I do? If I need to be more flexible in this area, what can I do, right? So those are things that are all offered, you know, through Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, along with the just overall well-being.
Thank you. We hope to see you soon.
Thank you to the Jones family. Please make sure to visit their jiu-jitsu and wrestling studio at 3760 Sonoma Boulevard, Suite 2, right here in Vallejo, California. Well, I hope you're not hungry because it is time for our first cooking demo of the day. Today, we are going to learn about a soul food recipe that is sure to impress your family and friends. Today, Chef Renee Pugh, also known as Vegan Heat, will be showing us how to make some crispy, crunchy, southern fried chicken using oyster mushrooms. Miss Vegan Heat is an Atlanta native, City of Vallejo transplant who has been cooking up a storm on social media for the past year. She has done a variety of vegan pop-ups in and around Vallejo and even cooked her famous Jamaican peas and rice with stewed vegan brown chicken, fried cabbage, and mac and cheese for last week's Vallejo People's Garden pop-up event. Renee is passionate about making new recipes like mango cream cheese, stuffed French toast, and vegan pork chops from scratch. Recipes like this are good for both humans and chickens, since chickens account for about 9.3 billion of the nearly 10 billion land animals used for food each year in the United States. To break it down, this means that 25 million chickens every day, or 295 every second. For us humans, this is an easy 10-minute recipe to whip up a tasty plant-based alternative that is sure to impress. So here to show us how to make vegan fried chicken, please join me and welcome Vegan Heat. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Erica Hazel, and I have the pleasure of being joined by Helen Marie Cookie Gordon, and she is here today to talk to us about the access to healthy foods in the city of Vallejo. Hi, Helen, and I'm going to be calling her Cookie throughout. So hi, Cookie, how are you?
I'm doing excellent. It's so nice to meet you, Erica. Is that the proper way of pronouncing your name?
Yes, Erica.
Beautiful.
Awesome. So can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
So a little bit about myself. I moved here to Vallejo 2005. I came here homeless with my family of 5. And I just fell in love with the city because of the fact that they helped out. I've been in my residence. I've lived there since 2007. I've been a community advocate and an activist, also a bridger. What that means is I connect folks to help make changes. Not necessarily to get recognition, but just to put people together. You know, no sense recreating the wheel to a wagon if it's already just needs to be fixed or it's already one there. I also am a mother of 4. I have 7 grandchildren and a host of nieces and nephews in my community. So they always come back and check on me. I also ran for city council. I didn't quite make that vote where I like to be, but however, I'm a commissioner for housing. Also been recognized by our assembly members, senators, and also Congress members, and also community members with host of awards for being involved in communities. And I feel that you're the part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And if there's a problem, try to be part of that solution.
Absolutely. I love everything you just said. And I really think it speaks to the heart that you have for the city of Vallejo. Thank you so much for that. And so my follow-up question to that is, when we think about the access to healthy foods in the city of Vallejo, what really, what comes to mind for you? Do you have a hard time accessing healthy foods near where you live?
You know, it's a really good question. Thank you for asking. One of our complications that we have, so when I moved here in 2007 in this particular location, the only access we had was the liquor store, AKA corner stores, you know, and that's unfortunate. I would send my children to the store to get some bread, you know, just something to hold us off until we can take the bus. And at that time, the bus was convenient in a way, transportation, but to come back home was difficult because you have to take multiple buses to get to a reasonable grocery store, which, for example, I would have to take bus 1 to get to bus 6 to take me to Safeway over by Highway 80. Now, even in a vehicle, that's still a lot. So anyways, it was not a great idea because my sons were introduced to behaviors that I didn't want them to see at such a young age at that point. So I felt like, in my opinion, to be here 2007 to now, and as I ran my campaign, I found out that they've been trying to get a grocery store here since 1985, the year that I graduated. I'm 55 years old now. So anyways, and I don't understand what the problem is. There's a big property that was commercialized only and was supposed to put a grocery store there. Now they made it residential. And so for what? Just, you know, why are you not making sure the South area of Vallejo can have healthy food and to be known at the state level that we are a food desert? And everyone says it so freely, even during their campaign, but no one's done anything about it.
You know what, you bring up a lot of good points, like about how many buses you had to take to find a decent grocery store, and even how it's been decades since, you know, that this has been going on for, and like you said, just want to clarify, the community of South Vallejo, correct?
Correct. That's correct.
Yeah, and I definitely resonate when I hear the word food desert and how like it almost here at Food Empowerment Project, we use the term food apartheid because it seems it's really just a choice to not put healthy grocery stores in these communities.
Absolutely. That's a very good incentive words. Even if they was to have put a reliable market. So this is what happened. One of our political persons said, oh, well, we have the grocery outlet. That's mid downtown. Do you understand? You still got to take a bus there. Then if you get the bus, you have to wait a whole hour now because it goes all through Grand Cove to get to here. And then with the freeway being, you know, Highway Magazine now being revamped, they have to really go out their way. So you got groceries, you surely can't buy no ice or, you know, ice pops for your children, you know, especially when it's being so hot. And this part does not offer air conditioning. So you definitely can't do that. And you can, I've seen a lot of our young people from Maritime Academy walk to there, but to come back home with bags, they regretted that. I offered a lot of them home, you know, rides home. And first they said no. And then when I came back, I said, are you sure? Like, yeah, we'll take it. Because they realized that they have a long ways to walk back home, to walk up Sonoma Boulevard, Highway 99. So yeah, it's difficult. You're absolutely right. The transportation is by far the shockest because I just found out, and now check this out, Monday through Friday, bus every hour. But Saturday and Sunday, no bus because of COVID. But the other community have bus.
Really?
That's the part that got me. Now, Sunday, they didn't have bus, but now you're going to take away Saturday too, and you say because of COVID, but yet other communities have within Vallejo transportation up to Yin Yang, but we don't. That makes no sense.
And so you're pointing out a lot of the issues that are definitely specific to the community of South Vallejo and the disparities between the different areas of Vallejo. And seeing as you're a longtime activist in the community, what do you see are some of the solutions?
To be honest with you, you have to give a darn. And that's me being nice. You have to really care. And so we had this district-wide voting, that just took place so that communities like this would not get neglected. And so far, we've been into position since our community's leadership has been in position since January. And I've seen already a new person get on board in her community, District 3, already got the roads being done. She's got the fire station opening up, but yet, and then on where District 6 representative live, she's getting all Springs town fixed up, Springs Road, but yet South Vallejo is being neglected.
Yeah.
And what has been done is because me being activated into full force about this road getting fixed. We got that done. Wheelchair cuts, got that done because my son got hurt in the wheelchair. But yet we can't get a grocery store. So I reached out to my representative just recently that we need, and they're talking about having farmer market. Okay, that's beautiful. But why can't we have a grocery store?
A whole
Everybody
grocery store.
There's one sitting on top of one. In District 3 and District 4, you got them sitting on District 1, sitting on top of each other. But nothing, I don't understand it. They're building a whole new Costco right in the same District 1, and there's already one there. So why not take that money and talk Costco come on this side of the woods? I don't understand that.
Yes. And I think that you make so many great points about some of the, like we said, the disparities between the different areas of Vallejo and how South Vallejo is being left behind in terms of accessing healthy foods in Vallejo. In general, overall, do you think that things have gotten better or worse in the last few years?
Oh, so unfortunate to have to say it's gotten worse.
Okay.
They think their solution is providing a list of food banks. They're having, yes, so grateful to have the food truck. The Casa food bank that provides fruits. That is really wonderful. Down the street, you get that every other Tuesday, and that's nice. But for people who work, they can't take advantage of that because it's only 1 hour. Number two, they can't take advantage of it because it's from 2 to 3
during the workday. Yes.
And then they can't take advantage of it because if they don't have transportation, that's it. You can get there. You're fortunate to walk there, but you cannot carry all that stuff back home. Especially over here in this corner. But on 6th Street, I met a lady who's been in the community, I guess, for a long time. I guess when one of our famous singers named the Commodores were here, if I'm saying it right. And when the neighborhood was really up to par and was known to be the best, they've been fighting to get a grocery store here.
Mm-hmm.
They noticed there was not being taken care of or giving the best of care in this area, and always have to be a fight.
Yeah.
So she said that her great granddaughter want to come back home and give back to her community, but it got exhausting. Got exhausting, and she's a vegetarian. She wanted to have healthy foods for her children, and so her great granddaughter came to help her grandmother for a while, and just couldn't take it no more. You have to hop in a car and let's take a trip to the grocery store, everyone. A trip like going out on out of town, and to get healthy foods, she has to go to, like, she's a Trader Joe person. She has to go out of the community, out of the city, to go to the nearest one, wherever that's at.
Yes. So there's definitely a disparity and a lack of support for healthy foods in South Vallejo in particular. And it's been, like you said, a decades long problem. Miss Cookie, this has been a really great conversation. I want to just close with, is there any wishes, or if there, if someone was listening who could make this change overnight, like what would you want them to hear? What would you want them to know?
I want them to know that it should not be a privilege to have food. It should be a right to have healthy food. You are in the office to listen to your people. You need to take that consideration. If you build up all of your community, your equity will go up. You would bring great clientele. You could bring great residents, visitors, because they know we are right here, all on and off the freeway ramp, where people could take advantage of healthy foods. Co-op grocery store for our community be great, because our city will benefit from that, because people are local working there. And they know that we're supporting other community members who may provide healthy strawberries. We'll be taking care of our community, a sense of pride. And if they could just hear that, would be great. And stop sitting on it and dangling in front of us like a 24 karat, carrot. Come on, and I'm willing to be part of it. If you could understand, our kids can see nothing but liquor stores, it says something to them that they're not valuable, and that you buy food from the corner store that you just seen them at Smart and Final, the word final, and you buy it. It's rotten at times. If you froze, it's frozen. You don't find out to actually defrost it. The bread is hard. You can use it as a hammer. Just hear our cry and have empathy and help us.
Yeah.
It's not difficult.
No, you're absolutely right. Thank you so much for all the passion you brought to this interview. Thank you so much for all the solutions and words that you brought. And I hope that the right people are hearing and we can make a difference in our community. Again, thank you so much, Helen Marie, Cookie Gordon. It was great to have you. Have an amazing day.
Absolutely the same for me too. Thank you. Take care. It's nice meeting you.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much, Vegan Heat, for that super simple yet delicious recipe demonstration of how to make fried chicken vegan style. If you haven't tried her food yet, make sure to follow her on Instagram at vegan_heat to see when you can order her food right here in Vallejo. Trust me, it's worth it. Our next speaker is Miss Sarah Pack. One second. Our next speaker is Ms. Sarah Pack. Sarah is a registered dietitian with a focus on lifestyle medicine, plant-based nutrition, public health, and mindfulness. Sarah has worked in the hospitality, healthcare, and tech startup arenas and has experience in animal welfare advocacy, culinary arts, sustainable food systems, and health and race equity projects. Today's presentation is about the benefits of a vegan lifestyle and the health benefits involved with a vegan diet. Afterwards, we have a special live Q&A with Sarah herself. So please use the Q&A chat box at the bottom of your screens to submit questions that Sarah will answer live after her presentation. Please welcome to your screens, Ms. Sarah Pack.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah, and I am a plant-based dietitian. I am so happy to be a part of this wonderful festival this year and feel honored to be a part of this truly meaningful and vital community. So going vegan involves 3 key concepts or steps in my personal and professional experience. First is to know your why. When you wake up in the morning, isn't it easier when you know why you're waking up? When you don't know, and trust me, I've been there, I think we've all been there, it's hard to get out of bed even, right? So knowing our why and what we do and the choices that we make makes all the difference when we are adopting a new change. It just makes it a little easier. Second, simplicity is key. Change can be hard and challenging. If you keep things simple, going vegan will feel easy and doable for you and your family. And third, it's really important to focus on your successes rather than when you didn't do something right. Now, your reason might be for health. Standard American diet, also known as the SAD diet, as you can see on the screen, is typically high in animal fats that are harmful to not only our heart and liver and kidneys that you might have heard of, but it's also harmful for our eyes, our brain function, cognitive health, longevity, and overall health. This kind of diet is high in saturated fat and cholesterol, and they all have minimal to no fiber. It's also highly processed, low in health promoting fiber and nutrient-rich whole grains. In other words, it's just low in health promoting foods that come predominantly from less processed plant-based sources like fruits, vegetables, beans, nuts, and seeds. Also, it's not just about fiber and vitamins and minerals that you might have already heard, but also there are compounds that are made when meat is grilled called polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbon and heterocyclic amines or amines. You don't need to remember these words, and don't ask me to repeat it again. But just know that these chemicals form when muscle meat from beef, pork, fish, or poultry is cooked using high temperatures such as grilling or frying, and they are just not good for our health. I know barbecue season is a big thing for many of us in the warmer months. So this is something to think about, right? And you might be asking, why are these unhealthy? Well, these compounds have been found to change your DNA, your genetics, that may increase the risk of cancer. These are also found in other smoked foods like smoked salmon and meats, as well as in cigarette smoke or car exhaust fumes. So this is another reason to go vegan, because high consumption of well-done, fried or barbecued meats are associated with an increased risk of cancers, especially colon, pancreas, and prostate. Not good. Also, I really want to encourage us to take a step back and cut out the middleman or middle person and think about the food package. For example, if you think you need protein, then think about what the protein package is. If you want good carbs, then think about what the carb package is. We need to take a more macro view, not a micro. So macro means big. We got to take a step back, look at the big picture. If you just look for protein in grams, sure, you might find it in animal foods, but what else comes with that quote unquote package? For example, the animal protein package, as you can see from the screen here, we're comparing between the beans in the first corner there, and then the rest of the animal-based proteins. They all come with protein, sure, but remember, there are differences in animal-based protein and plant-based protein, but see the reds? Those are baggage. So it also comes with baggage. So there's saturated fat, cholesterol, most likely also antibiotics and growth hormones used to raise the animal, and zero fiber in animal products. But the plant-based protein comes with fiber, little to no saturated fat, and fats that are beneficial for our hearts, like poly and monounsaturated fats, antioxidants, and other phytonutrients that fight cell oxidation. So basically it fights for us to stay healthy. Vitamins, minerals, and so much more that benefit our overall health and well-being. So look at this screen. And so plant protein, this is the package, and look at it. Win-win-win-win situation. It's really, really awesome. And cholesterol, by the way, is only found in animal-based foods. So, and these animal-based foods that I was talking about is our main source of saturated fat, which our bodies then turn into cholesterol. Now, fiber, on the other hand, helps to lower our cholesterol and is only found in plant-based foods. So let's look at the bigger picture. So choosing plants is, as you can see, a win-win-win situation, a solution for your health, right? And other health benefits, as you can see here, are preventing, treating, managing chronic diseases. So prevention is so key. But even if you have it, you can really manage it and treat it with a plant-based diet. Longevity. Many studies are now finding that the more plants we eat, the lower risk of cognitive issues, including Alzheimer's. We can prevent it. Also arthritis, joint pain, these can really be prevented and treated with a healthy plant-based diet. And also we live longer. So we have a longer lifespan, but I kind of want to coin it health span. So how long are we living healthfully? Because I don't want to just live long. I don't know about you, but I want to stay healthy and mobile and independent, right? And the last thing is what's great is disease reversal. So not only can we prevent, treat, and manage many of the chronic diseases, but we're also finding out that like heart disease and diabetes, these conditions can also be reversed when we eat a minimally processed plant-based foods. So let's dive in. So how do we do this thing called going vegan? Well, I really would encourage you to keep it simple. So what I mean by that is this is just a sample pathway, but you want to take this journey. And this is a path to healthy eating for the planet, animals, and for yourself. So I want you to look at this pathway, and I'll show you a few examples in a minute. But more color from natural foods, the better. The plant foods on your plate, it's super easy to keep it simple, and I'll share a few tips on that in a minute. But this is kind of like the image that I want you to think while you transition or transform your diet to a vegan diet or a plant-based diet. Here is a sample plate from Kaiser. I used to teach there many years ago, but they also promote a plant-based diet. And as you can see, it looks great, right? Grilled veggies of many colors, many types, black beans with, I think, scallions in there, seasoned probably pretty well. And then whole grain there, brown rice, quinoa, barley, whatever you like, corn tortilla, it doesn't matter. So as you can see, it's very basic. So you don't have to make complex things. You don't have to use 20 different ingredients. You can just keep it simple. So to break it down, all you have to do is make half of your plate veggies, veggies, veggies. Don't care what it is. Rainbow is great. So you want more color, more variety for your gut microbiome, which are your gut bugs. You have a lot of bugs in your gut, and they love different types of fiber. And quarter of your plate, plant-based protein. So these are like tofu, tempeh, beans, lentils, peas, sprouts, foods made from seitan, which are wheat gluten. If you're not allergic to it, you could have all those, and fulfill your protein needs. And then lastly, eating a preferably whole grain in that corner of the quarter of your plate. Whole wheat pasta, brown rice, wild rice, grains like oats, quinoa, farro, whatever you're accustomed to eating that is minimally processed. So again, you don't have to be hooked on anything. Anything you can do is great, but I want to show you that it is actually quite easy. And I'm sharing with you these plant-based plate methods, but these can also turn into such plate that looks like this. So like a stir fry. So you just have to think, okay, bunch of veggies, little bit of like plant protein, and then a little bit of grain. So this one you might have side of like corn tortilla or side of brown rice or quinoa or something, or sweet potato, baked sweet potato on the side. That's great. And by the way, all plants have protein. So you don't have to really think about protein foods, but it is good to have a little bit of protein in our diet. So there are higher protein sources within plant kingdom, but just want to let you know that all foods, plant foods have protein. All right, grilled or roasted veggies, these are great for summertime, like Veggie. And any leftovers can be used for example, on the next screen here, like nourish bowls. So you could put a lettuce on the bottom or brown rice on the bottom and put a bunch of leftover dishes or meals on the top to just make a simple bowl, right? So that's really easy to make with leftovers. And then I make a lot of veggie pastas. So when you make veggie pastas, you can just make it from any kind of veggies that you might have. And then just like this picture is showing you, I typically use really a lot more vegetables than like the noodles. So, and then you could use tomato-based pasta sauce, or you could even Google like creamy vegan pasta sauce. There are a lot out there that you could try, but I typically like tomato-based or just broth-based. And then these are some couple of plates that I made myself recently. And again, I now cook a lot. And so if you don't cook a lot, then these might look really hard, but I want to break it down for you. So basically it's like tofu steak, falafel that I bought from a store, steamed Brussels sprouts, tofu scramble, which is super easy. Just Google tofu scramble recipe, and just sauteed garlicky kale, and sauerkraut that was bought from the store, hash brown that was bought from the store. So you could mix and match things that you bought from the store and then things that you're going to quickly make at home. So basically wanted to show you what I might be typically eating on a weekend or a weeknight. Now this beautiful bowl of leaves is called amaranth plant, and it's enjoyed in India, African countries, and Asian countries. And we have a beautiful farmers market here in Vallejo every Saturday. And I go there and I meet the farmers, and this is from a Hmong farmer there at the farmers market. And she was selling these, and they look so beautiful with the bright purple and green color. So I wanted to take a picture and show it to you. So you just rinse it, and then on the right side of the screen, you saute it with garlic and then tofu steak on a bed of brown rice and bunch more of the Chinese broccoli that I sauteed. With a little bit of tahini dressing. So any kind of dressing, any type that you can get hands on. Hummus is great. You could just put water in hummus and dilute it and make salad dressings out of it. So isn't that beautiful? I love the farmers here that come to our farmers market. And this slide, I wanted to show you that this is a photo that my mom sent me one day. This was her breakfast or lunch or something. And they're overseas, they're actually in Japan. But many of our ethnic or ancestral traditional diets are plant-based. So I want you to talk to your parents, your grandparents, aunts and uncle that you might have a connection with, to ask them about their old foods, what they used to eat if they don't eat like this anymore. Honoring our traditional foods is so key as well. So I wanted to share with you how plant-based some of these dishes are. And these are Spanish or Mexican rice, and then corn tortilla soup that's vegan. And these are also plant-based and nourishing, and it adds variety to your table. And as I mentioned, enjoying traditional foods is really key. So, these are Indian, Ethiopian, Thai foods, or any other culture that you might be coming from. They have a lot of plant-based foods already. So I want you to, lastly, I want you to focus on your wins. So focusing on success and not so much like what you're not doing it perfectly or right. So how to go step by step with that is to find and keep what you're already eating that's already vegan. Like, for example, if you're eating oatmeal, you might need to just swap the milk that you're using, if you're still using dairy milk, to a plant-based milk. So you're going to find and keep the dishes that you're already right now enjoying that's already plant-based and vegan. So write out a list of those, and you're going to keep them. And then you're going to swap the other ones that might have a little bit of animal products in it with plant-based options. So for example, you might like chili, but they might have like ground beef or something in there. So you just remove the meat or swap it with crumbled tempeh or lentils or soy crumbles or many of those alternative meat products out there, or just omit it and use a lot of seasoning like herbs and things to make it yummy. Burgers, so swap the patty. There are so many plant-based burger patties. There's also recipes if you want to make it from scratch, but you could just swap it with a plant-based patty and then keep everything the same. And mayo, you might want to use vegan mayo. Ketchup's already vegan, so there's a lot of things that are already plant-based when you start to look at it. So you want to swap just the meat part with veggies. So if you do a rice bowl, the chicken or something that were chopped up, you could use firm tofu or beans or hummus or any other plant-based options there. And then you want to crowd out your plate. So, you want to keep adding these new options, new recipes, new products, and and explore a little bit, you know? So adding in the exploration comes and includes this next step is for you to try and stay open-minded and kind of talk with other friends that might be doing plant-based already. There are many of us kind of sprouting everywhere, but I encourage you to try new items, try a new vegetable, try to go to the farmer's market, try to go to a store that you haven't gone before, try a restaurant that you haven't tried and see if they have vegan options. Also, YouTube has so many plant-based chefs and vegan recipes. It's easy to just access YouTube and watch a few videos and see how they do it. It's easy and affordable way to kind of find out free, channels there. Also, recipe books are all pretty much online. You could purchase them, used. There are plenty of free online resources, including here with a host of this festival, Food Empowerment Project has a lot of free resources too. So thank you very much for listening to me today. I am so excited to be able to answer a few questions after my presentation. Thank you for participating in the festival. I am so honored again to be a part of it, and I look forward to connecting with you in a minute.
Awesome. I hope you were able to learn a thing or two about the health benefits of a vegan diet. And now if you will join me and welcome Miss Sarah Pack. Hi, Sarah. Sarah, how are you?
Hi there. Great to be here today. And I'm a little bit on this side of the screen because my doggie who fell asleep doesn't want to move. So I thought it's fine. She's right front and center on the screen.
I love it when the dogs come with us. I love it. That's awesome. How are you doing today?
I am good. I'm good. She was enjoying a Vegan Heat's amazing cooking video as well. So,
hey, hi, puppy. So we have a couple of questions for you. Thank you so much for that amazing presentation. I think the first thing I want to ask you is, before we get some Q&A questions, are what is your favorite vegan dish or recipe to eat?
Oh gosh, the problem and the non-problem I have is that I don't have a lot of allergies, but also I don't have a lot of dislikes. So I have so many dishes that I love. My favorite, oh my gosh, I would say like a Nourish Bowl because I just love it. It's so satisfying. And like I said, I can use up all my leftovers and it's so easy to eat. I love tahini dressing. It just fills me up. So anywhere I go, usually like restaurants, when they have vegan food, I look for those bowls. So maybe that's just how I grew up too, but I love them.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. Yes. Tahini is like the best. Okay. Awesome. So our first question is, what are some of the major misconceptions about a vegan diet, especially like where do you get your protein, and what do you tell people when you hear those misconceptions? What is your first piece of tangible advice for those vegan diet misconceptions?
So a lot of times, and I have to say in my practice, it has been decreasing, the whole protein question, but it does come up, and that's why in the presentation, I wanted to make sure that everyone knew that the plant-based plate or a vegan plate, every single thing on there, including the zucchini and the kiwi and the strawberries and the apples, everything has protein. Sure, something has less and something has more. And as we age, we do need to eat a little bit more protein and so forth. But overall, if you're getting enough calories from a variety of things, you're fine. We're not protein deficient. We're fiber deficient, right? So when we go quote unquote vegan or plant-based, initially mixing and matching is a great way. So for example, there are, the vegan chickens and the vegan meatballs. And, if these are some foods that you're used to eating, then swapping them to the frozen versions or something that is easy to cook is fine. And if you're able to do it, and if you have a kitchen, a small kitchenette to a full kitchen, whatever you have, you want to start to then branch out into using those little bit less processed foods as a mix so that you're getting the fiber and you're getting that rainbow on the plate. So the rainbow on the plate, every single color in that rainbow on your plate has different effect on us. So it's not just looking pretty, but it does a lot of things for us. And each color has different phytonutrients, phyto meaning plant, nutrients meaning just nutrition, right? So I just encourage people to have variety as much as possible, but initially do what you can and then reach out, get support from, Food Empowerment Project and other, communities, especially in Vallejo. There's a lot of vegan communities, fortunately sprouting up. So connecting with other vegans also help too.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that answer. Awesome. Our next question is, for someone without much time, do you have quick tips on how to eat healthy, but also not very processed, or any meal prep tips to make it faster in a busy household?
Frozen fruits and veggies are just as fine as the fresh ones. So if the fresh ones aren't looking so hot on the shelf in a grocery store, those have less nutrients actually. So you want to go to the frozen section, make sure there's no salt or sugar in them. Usually they don't. But the flash frozen veggies and fruits last way longer, right, than a fresh one. They don't go spoiling, and they're a little cheaper and they're accessible. So I highly encourage you guys to do that. And in the canned kingdom, beans, 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 beans. Those are fantastic. So you always want to stock those in your pantry.
I love that. And the frozen mangoes in my freezer are like, raising the roof right now. I love that.
That's right.
Our last question before you go would be, do you have any kid-friendly, nutritionist suggestions for those who are viewing at home, kid-friendly ones?
So kid-friendly ones are like finger foods or snacky foods. So, whole wheat toast with a PB&J, make it whole wheat so it's a little bit more nutritious. The other thing that are super kid-friendly are smoothies. So these are fantastic to make. They're great for snacks, great for energy boosting when they come home from playing around. So I encourage parents to make smoothies and add those seeds and nuts into it so that there's plant-based protein in there too, rather than protein powder. No problem with that, but it's just a little more expensive, and you could just substitute it with any kind of nut if they don't have any allergies, some of those nut products or sunflower seed products.
Awesome. I love that. I thank you so much for these great tips. It was so great having you on today. We hope to see you again in the future. Thank you so much, Sarah. Have an amazing rest of your Sunday.
Thank you, Erica, so much. It was an honor. Bye, everyone.
Ours. Bye. All right, everyone. We hope that you enjoyed Sarah's great tips and her live Q&A. Next, we are very excited to continue celebrating Latinx Heritage Month with Chef Jackie's recipes for Encelada de Nopales and Nopales in Chile Verde. So Chef Jackie is a good friend of mine. She is Vallejo born and raised and has even competed on TV on Food Network Channel's show Chopped. But enough from me. Chef Jackie will introduce herself during her awesome cooking demonstration. So sit back and relax and get ready to learn about 2 cool new ways to cook nopales. Please welcome to your screens, Chef Jackie Contreras.
Hello everyone, my name is Chef Jackie. I'm here today to show you 2 different dishes made with nopales. To cook them, and then how to prepare 2 different dishes that will both be vegan and delicious. So first, we will get our nopales, and they are full of thorns, so you have to be very careful. So I usually get a gardening glove when I harvest them. So these were harvested actually in my mom's backyard here in Vallejo, but you can find them in the grocery store, and you can find them diced up, ready to go, just like this. So to harvest them, if you do that, you just have to be very cautious, get a knife, and then just gently scrape the knife against the nopal and take all the little thorns off. Like I said, be careful because it hurts. And so just cleaning it like so. So this is what the cleaned product will look like. So no thorns, and you can also rinse it if you like to make sure that there aren't any little thorns left in there. And then before you continue to use your cutting board, you want to make sure to clean that off very well as well, so you don't get any thorns in your food. So now that it's at this stage, I can dice it up. So I'm just going to cut it into little strips and then dice it up. So today I'm making an ensalada de nopales. So basically it's very simple, 2 dishes that I just grew up eating and are super easy to execute. So we have to basically, for the ensalada de nopales, just chop everything up and toss it together. And then we have another dish which is nopales and chile verde. So we get a nice tomatillo salsa and cook that and add the nopales and jackfruit. So those are 2 dishes I'm going to be showing you today. So first we'll start with the ensalada de nopales. So you want to make sure for both dishes we're using nopales, so I'm just going to cook it all up at once. So we have our diced nopales just like this. We're going to get water, and because nopales are the cactus, they're slimy. So in order to cut the sliminess off, to kind of get rid of it, we add a lot of onion to the water that I boil the cactus in, or we can also cure it in salt. I'm using the onion method today. So I get water, season it with some salt, and I'm going to be adding the fresh diced nopales and letting that cook until they've changed in color and are tender like this. So this is what we're looking for. And afterwards, we're going to get onions. So we're gonna have to dice some onion, tomato, jalapenos. These are in a vinegar brine, so they're pickled jalapenos. I like to use not only the actual jalapeno, but some of the little vinegar to add to my salad. So same as I did with the nopales, I will also dice the tomato, but it has a lot of excess liquid, so I try to get rid of some of that by not using all of the center, like this liquidy stuff. I'll get rid of that to make sure that the salad ends up being nice. All the seeds and things like that, you can de-seed it and then just use the tomato without any of the seed. So this nopales ensalada is very traditional in Mexico, and it's something that I grew up eating. So any time we had any party or anything like that, we've always had just a variety of dishes, and this was always one of the ones, especially for like a barbecue during the summertime. One of our side dishes is always ensalada de nopales, very refreshing, easy, and very traditional, just something I grew up eating my whole life. So yeah, it comes from Mexico. So then now we have to dice the onion, so just like this. So I usually just take the ends off of it first, take the outer layer out, and then I'm just going to dice it. So I get my knife and I start cutting it. And then I go with the grade of the onion and chop that as well. And I'm looking for a pretty small dice, so We don't want a big chunk of onion, so nice fine little pieces of onion is what we're looking for. Since this is a raw salad with raw onion on it, we don't want big chunks. So this is what I'm looking for. So while I'm chopping everything, the nopales are cooking. So like I said, simple, easy, quick, and delicious. So we also need to chop cilantro for the salad. I got this from my mom's garden, and most of these ingredients can be found in any grocery store around here. I go to a lot of Mexican grocery stores, and all these ingredients are found there. So for the cilantro, I just cut the little end off just to make sure it's not any dry ends. But basically, we use everything. So we're going to use the stem. We're not picking the cilantro, we're just chopping it finely. And that will be also added to the ensalada de nopales. Here we have the nopales cooking with a little bit of salt and some onion. Like I said, the white onion just helps with absorbing some of that slime, getting it to be less slimy. And then after it's cooked all the way, and we're looking for this color, so it'll have a bit of change in color, so it'll go from like a fresh, vibrant green to a darker, more olive green. And so once it's gotten to this point, you know it's ready. So maybe a few more minutes on this, and then we basically just strain out the liquid, take the onion out, and then we'll have this. Just so you can see it. All right, so now that the nopales are cooked, we're going to put it all together and make the salad. So we have the cooked nopales. So I'm going to add about a cup of that. And I'm going to add about half a cup of diced tomatoes. We do want the nopales to be the main star in the show here. And same thing for the onions. I'm going to do about a quarter cup to a half cup, depending on your preference of liking of onions. So I'm just going to do a quarter cup. And then cilantro is a must. You really want to go heavy. So I have probably like half a cup here. A good amount of cilantro. And then to spice things up, make it more interesting, more delicious, I get some chopped pickled jalapenos. And this is also about a quarter cup. Adds a little spice, a little zing, a little freshness. And then we're going to get a little bit of dried oregano. So this is a little secret ingredient I like to add, just to add a little extra something. So I just add about literally less than half of a teaspoon. So just a big pinch, but if you like it, add as much as you like. And then I'm going to make sure to season all of this heavily with just regular kosher salt. And then my little trick is adding some of the jalapeno vinegar. It also helps preserve everything because of the vinegar, because I'm also adding one little finishing touch. I love avocados. They always add a lot of creaminess to everything. So I get an avocado, and that I usually do at the end. So I'm going to be tossing all of this, making sure it's properly seasoned. And once that's ready, I'm going to add the avocado. I don't want to add the avocado in the beginning, because once you're folding it, it'll get mushy, and you want to have the nice whole pieces of avocado. So I'm adding this, making sure this is to my liking. Like I can already see I want more onion, so I'm going to add a little bit more onion. And making sure it's properly seasoned. All right. And now I'm going to add the avocado. I get the avocado, and I'm just going to dice it. So I cut it in half, de-pit it, and then dice it, and I'm just going to scoop it out with my spoon or a spatula, whatever works for you. And like I said, you don't want to over mix it once you've added the avocado because you want the nice pieces in there. And like I said, this is a really easy, delicious dish that I literally have all this on my pantry on hand all the time. So something quick, easy, delicious, nutritious, and tasty. All right, so here we have the final dish. I went ahead and fanned an avocado out just to make it look a little prettier. But this dish, like I said, is a side dish, or it can also be served with tacos. I love to make tacos out of this, so just warm up some tortillas and have some tacos en nopal. So here you have it. So here we are going to make our second dish with nopales. So we are making nopales en chile verde with jackfruit. So first I want to get some fresh tomatillos, onion, and boil that. So I have that here boiling with a few jalapenos as well to add a little extra kick of spice. And once that's boiled, I'm going to strain it, blend it, and make a delicious salsa verde out of that we will be cooking the nopales and the jackfruit in. So here we have the tomatillos cooked, and I'm gonna get the jackfruit. So jackfruit, I find it in a can and it's brined. So it has, it's in a brine liquid. So first we have to get the jackfruit from the can, strain it out, and then wring it. So I usually just use a towel like this. Any regular kitchen towel is fine. You just don't want something that gives off a lot of lint. So I just literally just wring it out and take any of that excess brining liquid out so that it's dry. So that way, whatever liquid we put it in, it'll absorb. So once it's wrung out, you'll get this mass like so. And this is what you're looking for. Nice and shredded bits. This is what we want. All right, so this is the cooked tomatillos and onion and jalapenos. This is what you're looking for. So again, it goes from a fresh, vibrant green to more of an olive green. That's how you know it's ready. All right, so here we have our salsa verde. It's been simmering for about 10 minutes. As you see, it's gotten a little thicker. The flavors have all blended together. And you can see the color is also a little darker. So that's how you know your sauce is ready. So now we will be adding the jackfruit. So like I said, it's just regular jackfruit that has been taken from the can and wrung out. So we're going to add that. And then we're going to let this simmer for another 20 minutes or so. We really want these flavors to absorb nicely. So we're just gonna have that, and then also our cooked nopales. So I have about probably about a cup of each. So a cup of jackfruit and a cup of nopales added to the salsa verde, and we're just going to have that simmer. Just get all those beautiful flavors to absorb. We're gonna have the nopales absorb some of those flavors, and the jackfruit also absorb some of those flavors. All right, so here we have the finished product. It has been simmering for about 20 minutes, so all those beautiful flavors have incorporated, and now it's ready to plate and eat. So this is a perfect dish to serve with a side of rice, some beans, some tortillas. It's great for tacos. Like, both of these dishes are great for any kind of potluck. Just a great food choice to share. That's vegan, delicious, nutritious, and amazing. A lot of this stuff, like I said, you can find in most Mexican grocery stores around here, like Cárdenas, Guanajuato, Dos de Oros. All those are where I usually shop for most of my ingredients if I don't find them in nature. Like, my family has a little garden, so we do have nopales, we have herbs, but whatever I don't have, I usually get at any of those grocery stores. All right, so here you have the final dish. So it's jackfruit, nopales, and chile verde. My name is Chef Jackie Contreras. I am from Vallejo, California. I was actually born in Mexico, but since I was 6 years old, I was raised here. I actually graduated from Hogan High School, and my passion for cooking came from my family. I was very inspired throughout my life, always being around amazing food, and that's always been what I want to share. So my love for the planet and food has become my career. And so now I just love to share vegan food with everybody, and vegan Mexican food as well. Growing up, I learned that food was abundant everywhere and that you can find it and harvest it anywhere. So I've grown up learning how to forage, especially here in California. We have such a great abundance of everything, as far as like figs, berries, nopales, all that can just be found on a regular hike anywhere around here. So I've really taken that and made that a part of my cooking style as well.
Awesome. Thank you for those delicious and easy nopales recipes, Chef Jackie. I hope you all make both of these recipes at home very soon. As our day comes to an end, I want to reintroduce our organization behind this amazing festival, Food Empowerment Project, or FEP for short. FEP is a registered nonprofit 501c3 that promotes veganism, fights for farm workers, works on the lack of access to healthy foods in communities of color, and encourages people to not buy chocolate sourced for some of the worst forms of child labor. The upcoming video will introduce you to our work and our hope for our planet and its inhabitants to better understand the connections between people, non-human animals, and our environment. Now, please welcome Food Empowerment Project into your home.
Food is power. Our food system is a huge interconnected web stretching across the globe. It links fields to factories, human animals to non-human animals, workers to corporations. When we choose what to have for dinner, we're not just choosing what to eat. We're also choosing whether or not to support the industries that put the food on our plates. That's a lot of responsibility, but it's a lot of power too. For those of us who are able to make informed, ethical food choices, we can make a real difference in the lives of humans, non-human animals, and the earth. At Food Empowerment Project, or FEP, we believe that our food choices can change the world, and we want to show you how. The most incredible thing our food choices can do is reduce the amount of suffering in the world. How? Well, each year, tens of billions of non-human animals are exploited in our food production systems. Each one of them is an individual who is aware of their own existence, feels pleasure and pain, and wants to be safe and free. They are confined, separated from their families, mutilated, and killed. Our food choices can reduce the amount of suffering of non-human animals when cutting out meat, dairy, and other animal products. FEP promotes ethical veganism, encouraging people not to contribute to the exploitation and suffering of animals, both human and non-human. Our website is full of information to help people understand the power of their food choices and learn how these choices can impact non-human animals, from chickens and rabbits to fishes and other sea creatures. And it also includes some recipes and meal ideas. To support this further, Food Empowerment Project has created 2 vegan websites, one featuring delicious Mexican food in English and Spanish, and one with amazing Filipinx recipes in English and Tagalog, to help people go and stay vegan. So, ethical veganism is important, but not everybody can get the kind of food they need for a healthy plant-based diet. If we want people to eat more fruits and vegetables, we need to make sure that all people have access to fresh, affordable produce. In Black and brown communities and in low-income neighborhoods, access to fresh fruit and vegetables is often limited or non-existent. It is vital that we acknowledge the ways that racism and economic disadvantage prevent marginalized communities from being able to access healthier food. When invited, FEP makes an assessment on the availability of healthy foods and begins to work with local communities, policymakers, and community organizations. We then convene focus groups to determine the barriers seen and experienced by the community to help create solutions that will benefit the health of individuals over corporations. But we can't stop there. We want to get fresh produce on more shelves and on more plates. And those fruits and vegetables have to come from somewhere. We want people to think about the ways their food choices can reduce the suffering of non-human animals in our food system. But what about the humans in that system? Farm workers are some of the most vulnerable and exploited workers in the United States. They often work long hours in extreme heat, are exposed to agricultural chemicals, and many experience homelessness due to their low wages or wage theft. Also, many are migrant or undocumented workers who are threatened with deportation if they speak up, which leaves them vulnerable to a variety of abuses. In addition, female farm workers experience sexual harassment on a regular basis. We advocate for improvements to farm worker rights at corporate, legislative, and regulatory levels. In 2018, we helped overturn a rule that had forced the families of farm workers to move at least 50 miles away from the migrant camps when picking season was over, a regulation that negatively impacted their children's education. This victory meant that their children could now finish their school year without having to move. On a grassroots level, FEP organizes a school supply drive for the children of farm workers to help ensure these kids are offered all the opportunities that come with an education, something their parents have sacrificed so much for so that they might have opportunities previous generations may not have had. The fight for farm workers' rights doesn't end at the borders of the United States. We have a responsibility to the people who supply us with our food, even when they're on the other side of the world. Some of the worst human rights abuses in our food system happen in the supply chain for that confection we all love so much, chocolate. The chocolate industry gets much of its key ingredient, cacao, from areas where the worst forms of child labor and slavery are most prevalent. Children as young as 7 work long hours using dangerous equipment, and in some cases are not allowed to leave the farms they work on, and are beaten and sometimes not seen again if they try to flee. They go through all this just to make candy for us to eat halfway around the world. By informing people where their chocolate comes from, we can create transparency to help people eat with their ethics. On our website, Food Empowerment Project has a list of chocolate companies to let consumers know which companies we do and do not recommend based on the country of origin for their cacao. And we even have a free downloadable app to make it easy for those who have a smartphone. Be sure to look out for our mascot, Chavez, to see which chocolates we recommend. Our food choices are powerful. That means people are powerful. And that means you are powerful. Food Empowerment Project is about showing people just how much power their food choices hold. We want everybody to understand how much good their food choices can do, how much suffering we can stop. But we understand that making the world more just and equal is not a simple task. We can't just think about humans or just non-human animals or just the earth. We have to understand the way that these things are interconnected and the complicated systems they create. Together, we can help each other understand the whole picture. Then, we can work toward a better world. Remember, food is power. Use it with compassion.
Thank you for spending time to learn more about Food Empowerment Project and our work. We hope this helped you better understand our organization and our connections to one another and to our planet. Before we close today's event, we are going to give you a moment to post your questions now through the Q&A box that's located at the bottom of your screen, and we will do our best to get through as many of them as possible before we run out of time. While you're typing, we would like to remind you that Food Empowerment Project is looking for a full-time, one-year term Vallejo Community Organizer, or VCO, to work closely with the community of Vallejo, California, and FEP's team to help with a variety of programs and campaigns that align with our mission and support the communities and organizations' goals. Please click the link below to read more about it. And a reminder again that if you're one of the first 12 participants from Vallejo who joins the events today, we'll be giving you a free vegan cookbook gift box. If you haven't already done so, please fill out the survey using the link shared in the chat box. While you are typing your questions, I would like to welcome on screen Lauren Ornelas to help me answer some of your questions. Hi, Lauren.
Hi, Erica. Thank you again for doing such an amazing job and helping everybody feel so welcomed and having such a good time as part of our Vallejo Healthy Food Fest.
No, the pleasure is all mine. I know we have a couple questions coming through the chat. I'm going to give folks one more second, but what was your favorite part about today, Lauren?
You know, it's a couple things. I mean, one is that Vegan Heat's recipe looked phenomenal. But at the same time, I absolutely fell in love with Chef Jackie. She's adorable. And I fell in love with her. So I would say, even though I don't cook, I absolutely love the cooking demos. And I learned about Jiu Jitsu, which I knew nothing about. And now when I see it or I hear it, I'm like, oh, now I know a little bit more about it and it makes more sense to me.
Right. It was that was awesome. I think, the jujitsu was my favorite part, and having Sarah on was totally awesome. I really appreciated her and giving some new tips. Awesome. Okay. Our first question is, and this is for you, Lauren, what do you see as some of the solutions to the lack of access to healthy foods in Vallejo?
It's a great question. One that we've thought a lot about, mostly talking to the community. I mean, first and foremost, we believe that the solutions come from the community. And so listening to talking to them is where the answers are going to come from. And, like Cookie said, a lot of times well-intentioned people make decisions, but, if the farmers markets aren't at a good time for everybody, if they're not in a location where the most impacted community needs them, if they're not in, various languages, that's not really going to help and be part of the solution. We really believe in things like Vallejo People's Garden. We're getting people to grow food. We want more people growing their own food. And we very much would love to see more worker-owned cooperatives where the money will stay in the community. So we definitely see those as some of the solutions that we feel would empower people to be independent and off a current system that isn't looking out for them, as well as, a worker-owned cooperative, which would benefit the community and help it thrive. But we need those policy members to listen, and we need them to acknowledge that there's a problem and there's serious inequity going on in Vallejo. And we're very lucky to have Cookie fighting on the right side of justice. So thank you.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with that. Another question we got was, Erica, do you know if Renee, aka Vegan Heat, is planning on opening a vegan restaurant in Vallejo? That's a great question. She actually, we're pretty cool friends, and she does not want to have a restaurant. She wants a food truck so she can travel all over the place. So yes, she is hopefully going to have a food truck very soon, but she recently popped up, I believe last Thursday, on Broadway Street in North Vallejo near, what street is that? Near Broadway, and I'm trying to think of the street name.
How about a landmark?
Oh, a landmark where the old Rayleighs used to be. That's the best landmark I can think of. Yeah, that's the best landmark I can think of. But yeah, she does pop up regularly. You can find her on DoorDash. So make sure to check her.
DoorDash. Wow, that's fantastic.
Yes, you can get it delivered right to your front door in Vallejo. Awesome. Okay, so our next question for you, Lauren, is, so do you have, I know you said you don't cook, but do you have a favorite vegan dish that you enjoy?
Favorite vegan dish that I enjoy? It's really hard because there's so many, it's just like different, right? So like, I love Ethiopian food. If I'm gonna eat Thai food, I love yellow curry, but I also love pad Thai. So I think it's like I have to like break it down into the foods that I would eat. So I like popcorn and French fries that both happen to be vegan. So I'm pretty lucky for that.
Absolutely.
How about you?
For me, if I'm gonna make something at home, my go-to ever since I came back from Hawaii has been a mango ginger smoothie bowl, and I top it with granola and a little agave and maybe even like a squirt of lemon juice. So I love a really good smoothie bowl first thing in the morning. That gets my day started really well. But one of my other favorite things to cook is I make a cashew cream based fettuccine Alfredo.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
Yes, the water is boiling as we speak. Yes, I soak the cashews for as long as I possibly can, at least 30 minutes to an hour until they get plump. When you notice the cashews rise to the top of the water that they're soaking in, that's when you know they're ready to use. Yeah, that's I guess that's a vegan tip.
Good tip, yeah.
That's when you know the cashews are ready.
So I have a question. So if anybody else, you're like, I know what a smoothie bowl is. I do not know what a smoothie bowl is. So I'm picturing a smoothie, which is liquid in a bowl. That's probably not right, right?
Sort of, yeah, basically. So when I first, because I never had one before that trip. And so a smoothie bowl is actually going to be thicker. So, a regular smoothie is like thinner, so you can, suck it through the straw pretty fast. A smoothie bowl is thick. And so like if this is a spatula, you can spread it.
Oh.
It's thick. It's almost because you're going to eat it with a spoon with your toppings on top. So it's like, instead of, let's say, doing it with more liquid, a smoothie bowl has less liquid.
Huh. That sounds amazing.
I thought it was weird because I'm like, I'll just drink it. But actually eating it with the granola, strawberries, blueberries, all your favorite toppings on top, it's like almost like a frozen cereal, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that sounds delicious.
It's really good. Yeah. So yeah, I love to make a really good mango smoothie bowl with ginger and lemon juice inside of it. And then I also love a cashew cream based fettuccine Alfredo. So that's
amazing. My
answer to that. I think we have time for one more question. I know, Lauren, you spoke a little bit about some of the solutions to lack of access to healthy foods in Vallejo. What has worked in other places?
Well, I think that, the important thing is acknowledging that, what works in one community isn't going to work in another. But clearly what we've seen in an area like Oakland, we've seen that the worker-owned cooperative Mandela has worked. Other areas where, people can grow their own food has worked. We have some organizations down here in the San Jose area, Valle Verde and La Mesa Verde, that are helping people grow their own food in their yards, has helped people. So I think it just depends on each community. There are some communities that have done really well with the corner markets when they're actually people who are part of the community that own the stores and want to benefit the community. But, I think it just varies community to community. I did see one question about cheese.
Yes. So I definitely think when it comes to like the vegan cheeses, it kind of depends on what your preference is, whether it's made from soy milk, like what dairy alternative it's made from, cashew, coconut. My favorite is, like I just said, cashew based cheese replacements, but go and try some. Now the world of vegan cheeses has come so far. Like I can guarantee that most of them are cheesy, stretchy, ready for you to make your at-home vegan nachos and all that good stuff.
Yeah, not like when I went vegan in 1988. But if the one tip that I will give you is that if you haven't tried something called nutritional yeast, so it's called nutritional yeast, and you can buy it in the bulk section, or you can actually buy containers of it. Places like regular grocery stores sell it. But I don't know the stores in Vallejo, but definitely Trader Joe's does if it's one of the days that, or somebody who's heading out that way. But that it kind of really helps things taste a bit cheesy. If it's your first time tasting it, maybe sprinkle it on some popcorn and see what you think of it. But it's a lot of, and it's got nutrition, lots of nutrients in it, including if you get the kind that's fortified or enriched with B12, it's going to have some B12 in it. But that's another easy thing just to try and see what you think. But it's added to a lot of vegan dishes, including the pesto that I eat has nutritional yeast in it too.
Oh, I'm hungry. Awesome. Thank you so much, Lauren, for coming on screen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for everyone for all your questions and for participating in today's event. Over the last 2 weekends, we have learned so much together and had a great time, all from the comfort of our homes. Today, we learned how to make some delicious vegan fried chicken, learned more about a healthy vegan diet from a dietitian, learned how to cook nopales 2 ways, and saw some fantastic jiu-jitsu moves. As a lifelong Vallejoan, it has been my honor to have organized the Vallejo Healthy Food Festival for the past 3 years. I love being able to connect with my community on an issue that means so much to me: healthy eating and compassionate living. As a 5-year vegan myself, I couldn't be happier to share with my family, friends, and community the importance of having access to healthy foods in cities and towns like Vallejo, as well as showing another side of veganism that sometimes folks don't get to see: yummy, easy to prepare vegan foods that the whole family can enjoy. As someone who has attended, volunteered, and has now organized the Vallejo Healthy Food Festival for 3 years, it is with gratitude that I want to say thank you all for being here today. This is my last year organizing the Vallejo Healthy Food Fest, and I want to thank you all so much for welcoming me into your homes. It has truly been my pleasure. On our last and final day of the Vallejo Healthy Food Festival, we want to thank you again for joining us. If you're interested in viewing this event with Spanish captions, the video will be available 1 week after today. And if you registered, keep an eye on your email for when it will be available. We're sad to say goodbye, but are so happy you could join us. We will be sending out a survey to everyone who registered. Your anonymous feedback will help us plan the content and format for future events that we hope you will attend. We will be in touch. And those who will be receiving a free vegan cookbook and gift box, stay tuned and check your emails. Have a great day. Stay healthy and safe. Goodbye. Bye, everyone. I love everything in the chat. Thank you so much.